welcome to our lesson on dividing fractions and mixed numbers. So kind of like our last one, this is going to be kind of a sixth grade review of dividing fractions, but then we're going to throw in our negatives. So down here, find your notes. So we went dividing fractions and mixed numbers, and then we're going to start filling in this top little section. So we start with division. 12 divided by 3. Hopefully that's not too complicated for us. We all know that's going to be 4. This one's a little tougher. We have 5, and we want to chop it up into little 1/4 pieces. So here we had 12, and we want to break it up into 3 pieces. Here we have 5. So think of 5 of something, and we want to break it up into little 1/4s. So we divide them each of the 5 up into 4. And then if you were to count all those little fourths that we made, we would find that we actually got an answer of 20. I can make 20 little 1/4 pieces out of 5 whole objects. So now the same thing with our multiplying. Notice what's going to happen. 12 times 1/3. Well, 12 is really 12 over 1. 12 times 1 is 12. 1 times 3 is 3. And then 12/3, 3 goes into 12 4 times. So notice that 12 divided by 3 over 1 got the same thing as 12 times 1 over 3. We flipped that second fraction. Same thing here. Here we divided by 1/4, so we broke them up into 1/4 pieces. Here we multiplied times 4 over 1. So we're flipping that second fraction. We call it the reciprocal. And instead we're multiplying, and notice we get the exact same answer. So if you remember from 6th grade, the whole idea of dividing is instead of dividing by our fraction, we're going to multiply by its reciprocal. We're going to flip that second fraction upside down. So go ahead, put that into your notes. You'll see that it's numbered 1, 2, 3, and 4. So jot down these 4 steps. I'll give you a minute. Go ahead and pause. And then when you're ready, hit play, and we'll go on to those next problems. All right, hopefully you took the time to write those down. It's going to start very similar to how we started with multiplying fractions. We're going to start with our sign. Here I have a negative times a positive, so I know my answer is going to be negative. Then it says instead of dividing, we're going to multiply by its reciprocal. That means we're going to flip that second fraction upside down. So instead of 3/8 divided by 12 over 1, we have 3/8 times 1 over 12. Once it's a multiplication problem, now we can look to cross simplify. So in this case, 3 and 12 can each be divided by 3. I get a 4 and a 1. And then I go ahead and I multiply. 1 times 1 is 1. 8 times 3 is 32. And I've already taken care of my sign, so I get negative 1 over 32. All right, next one. Again, start with the sign. A negative times a negative is a positive. They cancel each other out. We rewrite it as a multiplication problem, and we find the reciprocal of 10 21sts. That's going to be 21 over 10. So first fraction always stays the same. Dividing becomes multiplying, and then we flip the second fraction. We find its reciprocal. Now we cross simplify. 5 and 10 can each be divided by 5. We're looking for something they have in common. 14 and 21 can be divided by 7. And then I get 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 2 is 4. And we get a positive 3/4. So decide if it's positive or negative. Rewrite it as multiplying by the reciprocal. Flip that second fraction, never the first one. Then just go ahead and cross simplify and multiply like usual. For mixed numbers, same thing with we had when we were multiplying. Make sure to change them into improper fractions first. So don't flip anything, don't change anything until after we've done that. So 3 times 5 is 15, plus 1 is 16/5. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 2 is 8/3. Take care of our sign. A positive times a negative is going to stay negative. And now we rewrite it as a multiplication problem. So we're going to flip that second fraction So it becomes 16/5 times 3/8. Once we've rewritten it as a multiplication problem, now we can cross simplify. So 16 and 8 can each be divided by 8. So I get a 1 and a 2. I can't simplify anymore. 3 and 5 can't be simplified by anything, so I multiply. 2 times 3 is 6. 5 times 1 is 5. So the only thing we still have to do is this is an improper fraction, so I got to change it into a mixed number. 5 goes into 6 one time, which is 5. If I take 5 away from 6, I'm left with 1 left over. -1 and 1/5. All right, last one, our word problem. Same process, same steps. We just got to set the problem up. So the key in a division problem, so this one says Mrs. Lau rolls out 2 3/4 feet of dough to make noodles. If the noodles are 3/8 of an inch wide, how many noodles will she make? So she's kind of slicing it up into little pieces. The key is the amount of material always goes first. Then we divide by the size of the pieces. So it's not something where you can just plug in any number in any order. In a division problem, it matters because one of them is going to get flipped. So we start with how much material does she have? Well, she has 2 3/4 feet. She wants to divide it into 3/8 of an inch pieces. So we follow our steps. First, we change our mixed number into an improper fraction. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 3 is 11/4, divided by 3/8. Now I rewrite it as a multiplication problem. So 11/4 times 8/3. I look to see if I can cross simplify. In this case, only the 8 and the 4 can be divided by 4. So I get a 2 and a 1. And then I just go ahead and multiply. 11 times 2 is 22. 1 times 3 is 3. Okay. 3 goes into 22 7 times with 1 left over. So she has enough to make 7 noodles with a little bit of dough left over. Okay. Oh, I forgot one little bit. There was a typo here. It's not 2 3/4 of a foot. It's 2 3/4 of an inch of dough. So she has a little chunk of dough. She's going to slice it up into pieces, and we get 7 1/3 noodles. Okay. So we start with the amount of material divided by the size of the pieces that we want, and follow our steps to get to our answer.